Hi, I'm Thomas of Meaningful Gigs, and welcome back to Heroes of the Creative Revolution. In this episode, I speak with Sam Davis about his experience formalizing DesignOps at Charter Communications. He talks about the importance of a community of excellence and a community of practice, using an annual CX day to improve cross-team collaboration and remove silos, the evolution of design in general at Charter, and much more. Let's dive in. Hi, Sam. Thanks so much for coming on the show today. Really appreciate you taking the time to speak with me and the rest of the audience, and watching and listening. Would love to start simple and just get more information about you and your background.
Thanks, Thomas. Yeah, Sam Davis here, based in Denver, Colorado. Background in design. Started out early in multimedia days, and then went into consulting, ad agency, and wrote a wave of M&A activity in telecom, and for the last year I've been at Charter Communications here in Denver, building out a DesignOps team with a great passionate group of folks here that are really founded in good design leadership principles. So we're excited to see that grow as the team evolves.
So you mentioned you're at Charter and you've been there for quite some time now. I'm curious, what was the state of DesignOps when you first joined Charter, and what were some of the initial challenges that you faced?
Yeah, great question. When I came in, the organization already luckily had a great reputation for being a design-led company, and being such a large company as it is, there's a lot of design teams spread across the organization, and we work to consolidate and refine and understand where the best design ops were happening within the company. And so we started with a listening tour by going to each different team to understand, what's working well and what wasn't. And then we consolidated that down into some recommendations. And so, several teams operating at varying levels throughout the organization. And so my remit was to come in to help to solidify that into one consolidated team to serve in a servant leadership style to those other teams, to start to be the connective tissue or the glue to the rest of the organization around design ops and design leadership. And there's a handful of activities that we've built around that, around community practice and community of excellence, that have really driven into that. But I would say, to our previous conversation, it has been happening for years in their own siloed ways. And our goal was to help to bridge those silos, to help to be a driver of change so that we can see the next level of the organization. So yeah, that's where we're at now, and that's where we're headed. We've got a long roadmap ahead of us, so we're excited.
You mentioned community of excellence and community of practice. Can you explain what those are, and what does that look like at Charter?
Yeah. And so, when you think of the two formal definitions of community of excellence and community of practice, COE being more, or community of excellence being more of a funded initiative where you've got, actual headcount and dollars associated with that for driving different communities of practice. And under our purview, under experienced leadership, we've got content design, we've got research, we've got experience design, we've got visual storytelling, and within that, we have those different flavors of community of excellence that are funded, or community of practice that are more organic or voluntary. And so under those different initiatives, we're holding ceremonies, both monthly and weekly, that are either more corporate led, that are funded, or more organic and naturally happening, where folks are just self-selecting based off of their interest across those design domains, if that makes sense. So those are the kind of two variations in between those, one that's funded and one that's more self-selected and organic.
Can you explain more about how that day in particular worked for you, and what it was help you to do as far as moving silos and breaking down barriers for cross-team collaboration?
Yeah, absolutely. Great question. So CX Day happens every day in October. It's sponsored by the Customer Experience Professional Organization, and we opted to be a part of that last year. And so we worked with the local CXPA president chapter to understand how we could take the foundational work that they've done and adopt that for our organization. So What we did was we brought in our chief mobile officer to be a keynote speaker to talk about the employee experience and the customer experience, and how, to your point, bridging silos and breaking down barriers to help to drive the customer experience was a key part of our business model. And so we had speakers from each phase of the journey, from the learn phase at the very beginning in acquisition all the way through to servicing and rolling trucks, right? And so it was a great day to showcase our passion for our customers and for our employees, and to show the great work that our teams are doing. And then automatically those members that showed up, we had about 180 that signed up that day, were grandfathered into our community of practice. And so now they're on our newsletter to show up to the different events to cross-pollinate. And we've seen a lot of benefit that came out of that around career building, growth, and an opportunity for other business that's coming through across the different silos. So that's kind of our flagship event from a design leadership and design ops standpoint. And then we have the monthly and weekly calls there as well to keep the momentum going and the drum beating. So,
like, how many people does it take from an operational perspective to kind of put that whole undertaking together and have that event go down successfully?
That's a great question. We did it on a shoestring budget, and then it was great just to see it organically happen of a self-selected group of folks. But I would say there was, a handful of, let's say, less than 10 folks that were passionately engaged. And I'd say we started too late last year. I think we started planning in June. This year we're starting in January. But I'd say we ran maybe monthly calls and planning for the event up until October. And then as we got closer to the event, we started to go bi-weekly. But yeah, I'd say bi-weekly and monthly with 8 to 10 folks with limited investment. But as we got towards the end, there was a definitely pedal to the metal. Lots of last minute things that we didn't figure out until the end. But this year, hopefully, we can get more mature in our planning. So that's on me. Yep.
I'm sure. And then you said that 8 to 10 people were planning and helping organizing it, but how many people actually participated in the day itself?
Yeah. So about 180 total. I'd say, let's say 60% were in person, 40% online. And so, this year we hope to expand it to more, and to go across the company and get more adoption, to really drive that trust. And because really it's a relationship building opportunity for us to see leaders across the organization and to share different working styles and different collaborations. This year we hope to do a couple breakout sessions and to dive into some actual tangible learnings that we can review in the monthly calls with the teams as well.
Right. Yeah. And as you say, it certainly sounds like a very key and important and useful relationship building tool and mechanism for the team.
100%. Yep. Agreed. Yeah. It's been great.
Thinking about your career as a whole now, what would you identify as your biggest design challenge, and then how did you overcome that?
Yeah, I would say, in any organization, you're going to have leadership alignment challenges. And so that's the biggest challenge I see in any organization I've had the opportunity to serve. And so how I typically overcome those is both at the grassroots level, is building relationships at individual contributor levels, and then navigating up to the leadership levels to make sure that we're aligned on a common goal and common vision. And that takes time and trust, and sometimes some battle scars need to happen together before you can do that. And so I think, getting into the work and showing value is the key aspect for our teams, and the guidance that we give to our designers is to show the value, and then inherently the work will come to you, and those relationships will come with time. But yeah, for me, it's a leadership alignment issues, and then being able to build that so that you can get those cross ecosystem team initiatives done. Because as we know, you may be designing one experience and you're focused on this one lane, but there's things that happen before your experience and after your experience. And as we do the journey work and the blueprint work, we find that we need to have roadmap items that get on other leaders' timelines and roadmaps that needs that leadership alignment to get those initiatives done. So So yeah.
And you said something there which struck me. You're talking about like, communicating to the designers to always, show the value. Are you giving them certain guidance on like how to actually communicate in terms that register as, receiving value from stakeholders from other teams?
Yeah, great question. Absolutely. I mean, I think we drive our designers to make sure that we're always, following some flavor of a double diamond, and that that we're building the right thing, and that's a strategic conversation. Is there a market fit? Is there a need? Is it able to be operated within our current model, or do we need to invest elsewhere? So building the right thing being one thing, and then building it right being another thing. And so having our designers make sure they understand the why, what they're doing, and that they're not just pixel pushing, but they're actually moving at the speed of business and impacting the bottom line. And so that's something we're actively doing with our career map, is to coach designers through the process from junior designer up to executive, to really show that they are adding value to the business, and that as they get more mature in their career, they're able to impact in more and more ways with the influence of research and design.
If you take a snapshot and look at where your design process is right now, how do you envision it evolving the most over the next year or in 2024?
Yeah, I would say right now we're formalizing the community of practice, building out the career mapping, and working with HR to align that so that it can be formalized into the systems, and then doing the training and the coaching and the mentoring with designers throughout their career to allow them to grow as a key part of our retention programs and recruiting programs as well, to keep folks engaged. So that's a key portion, which I would just call cultural. And then we're also just really doubling down on understanding our box and how we operate and how we're funded and how we're set up for success, so that we can think outside the box. And so that's kind of been our mantra this year: is the more we understand how we operate internally and how we can set teams up for success, the more we can innovate and think about future concepts that may be on the outskirts. So that's really the focus for us this year, is cultural, and then understanding our impact to the org and how we can partner for growth with relationships and the trust, so that future work comes through the door and our teams continue to grow and expand in their knowledge and influence.
Obviously consider you a hero of the creative revolution because you're on the show, you're a design leader. But who do you look for, or who do you admire and look for inspiration from within the design community itself?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. So many, humbled to even be in this space with, Lou Rosenfeld was a key part of my early career. Love everything that's coming out of Rosenfeld Media. Just got back from a conference with Meredith Black on the DesignOps assembly and her thought leadership and community building that's happened there. Freed Savatoff, obviously a great friend and mentor. We worked at EPAM and Google, great colleague. And really just finished a leadership at scale class on Maven with Rachel Kobetz, who is now Chief Design Officer at PayPal, and her thought leadership, as well as Kristen Skinner's, who she brought into the class, who wrote the book on design leadership and designing for the design org. It's kind of the Bible of design ops. Really have been influential in my career, but that's just to name a few. So
yeah, all inspirational leaders, as you say, and the ones that we've interacted with, have a great time with them. I remember seeing Meredith at the LA event. She did a great job sharing that whole design ops track with Henry Stewart, and Kristen was at our dinner, and it's always great to give words and her advice and opinion on how design ops, in particular in design, has evolved since really its conception.
Absolutely. Yeah. Another Colorado local as well. Lucky to have her.
Repping Colorado.
Absolutely. Love Meredith.
Let's talk fun for a moment. What's the most fun you've had in your role?
Yeah, I mean, I really get energy out of, partnering with the teams and collaborating. And so, yeah, I'm lucky to have a passionate group of folks that really care about each other and growing each other as a team. And so, for me, the funnest part is just, being able to work with folks I care about and I hope to have long-term relationships with. I was recruited in from folks I knew from 20 years ago, and I hope to know them 20 years from now. And it's a small world in the design community. But yeah, we did a ski day and snowboard one day, and that was great. And anything we can do in the community to give back, we're looking at volunteer days to kind of keep us connected to the community. And so those are the key things that keep me excited and have fun at work.
That was my last question. Is there anything else that you wanted to say or plug with the audience before we wrap up?
No, I just wanted to say thanks for the time, Thomas, and best to you and the team at Meaningful Gigs, and appreciate the time.